Welcome back to the Playwright second lecture, and in this lecture we'll be talking about explaining npm not module, npm init, explaining workers in Playwright, automate a test case using Codegen, set up a base URL in config file, test execution from the package.json file globally. So this lecture will be a following lecture from the first lecture. So first lecture was about just come up with the base framework, and that framework just making sure it is up and running with the test case, a single test case, and also understanding about the playwright.config.js file. So without talking, let's get started. So yesterday, during the creation of the development or creation of the framework, we used npm init. So what is the npm init? So npm are basically node package manager. When you install node.js in your machine, so that npm just install by default inside the node.js. So once you type npm, which is a node package managers, I means install, node package manager, and init means you are initializing the package, initializing the folder. So basically once you hit npm init, then it will create your package.json file under the modules, what module you are trying to install or what module you are trying to develop. Let's say npm init playwright setup. So that's mean you are trying to create a project with the playwrights, and under the playwrights it will have package.json file. It will create it by default. Now inside the package.json file, you will have the playwright test, which is a dependencies, and all others like is a required field name, version, descriptions, main, script. So we'll take a look into the script a little bit later today. And now let's go back one step back and let's see what is the next one. So explaining npm node module and npm init, it might helpful for you, which is I explained. Explaining workers in Playwrights. From the last lectures, as you know guys, we talked about the workers and we haven't finished that yet. So if I run over here npm playwright test in order to executing our test in a headless mode, so let's do it again. We'll be saying the two tests using two workers, running two tests using two workers. Now if I go to the test, which is it is executing it, so test means this is the one test, this is the another test. There is a two test over here. That is understandable. What about the two workers? If you go to the playwright.config.js, that's mean over here you will see the fully parallel equal true. So fully parallel meanings the system will know, the playwright, it will automatically know you are running parallelly. So workers meaning instance of the browsers. So let's say if you are using over here on the project Chrome, so that's when you are using Chrome browsers, and if you make it enable fully parallel equal true, that's when the playwright automatically it will know you are trying to running parallel executions with the two instance of the browser. So if you comment this fully parallel to and hit run again npx playwright test, then you will see the two test will know, okay, there is a two test and you are using one workers, which is the instance of the Chrome browsers. Hope it makes sense. And now let's go back on the list. Automate a test case using Codegen. So Codegen, the another script, which is yesterday I explained a little bit using the Codegen command. If you are using Codegen command, so that's mean it will giving you a record the steps of your test cases. So let's go ahead and see what it is look like. Now inside the readme.md file there is a npx playwright Codegen. If I run this one here, and before running it you have to make sure which environment you are going to be automate. Right now let's see, let's go to the deb. Let's see we can use this or not. Okay, so if I going here, then getting started, we'll be clicking on getting started. Let's go ahead, playwright.deb, we'll be automating playwright.deb. So let's execute npx playwright Codegen. There you go. So now on the right hand side you see this is the test runner, it's recording, start recording. On the left hand side this is the web browser, which is a Chromium browser. So let's go ahead and type playwright .deb. So this is our endpoints, which is the environment. Now from this environment we'll be clicking on docs. We'll be clicking on writing test. Let's go ahead and write test. Okay, so that's all. This is only three steps. Now let's copy this and come back to our automation suite. Let's close all of them. Automation suite, and this is our test case, basic test case, right? This is our basic test case. Now instead of this test case we'll be create another test case over here, new file, and let's say playwright test.spec.js. Now we'll be copy and pasting as I copied, and we just paste it over here. So what it look like? It is look like we're importing test and expect from the playwright test, then starting with the test. So test meaning we're trying to test a validation, we're trying to assert a validation from the manual test cases. So let's rename the test, let's validate click on the docs link. So page.goto, and so this is using page.get by role, which is a locator strategy in Playwright. Link, and the name is a docs, click, then page get by role, link name writing tests, it says the exact true dot click. Writing test, so that's me clicking on the docs, so clicking on the writing test, not the docs. Test link. Okay, let's go ahead and run it again. We can run it or not. So we'll be running it in a headless mode, npx playwright test. It says over here running 3 tests using 2 workers. Now if you go to the config file, playwright.config, here, so there is a test folders, whatever the test answer inside the test folders, so it will be automatically up and running. And over here is a Chrome, so we are using the Chrome, right? Now the last, so this is how you are going to record the script and playback in your automation suite. Now if you're going back one more times, set up base URL in config file and test execution from the package. Okay, so let's go ahead and set up the base URL. So let's say we'll be starting automating or like them using these endpoints, which is the environment and playwright.deb, and we'll be moving forward automating the other test cases. Let's see, we'll be moving the extra test cases inside the extra folders, and then we'll be moving this base URL inside the config file, so which is so project trust use is inside the use, we'll be using the base URL here. So this is our base URL. Let's go ahead and copy the base URL from here and inside the base URL. So we don't need the trace at this moment. So base URL, and on that base URL / we'll be adding the / here. Only the /, that's it, because the base URL we are using inside the conf file. So let's run it, and npx-playwright test, running one test using one workers. That's good. So that's when this is the only one test and only one Chrome instance. Now we'll be running this test. As you see, we're executing npx-playwright test over here is hard coded. So we'll be copying this and using inside the package.json file inside the script tag. So we'll be adding as a test variable, and we'll be using this npx-playwright test. So now if you're running npm run test, not npx, npm run test, as you see, the test is a variable we're defining inside the script npm run test. It will execute our headless mode, one test, one workers. Hope this is helpful. Thank you so much for joining and watching the videos. We'll come back to the next video with the latest and greatest Playwright features. Since then, stay tuned. Thank you.